Hey guys, this is Mr. King. I'm here doing another video with you. This one's going to be an illustration piece, and it's going to be your dragon drawing. The reason why I'm choosing a dragon is because just like fish, there's no right or wrong way to do it. We're going to use a couple of tracers here. One is just a triangle that I've cut out for myself, and one is a rectangle. This is an option for you. You don't have to be doing it this way. You can completely freehand, but I wanted to show you how some really basic shapes like rectangle and triangle, and if you wanted to, you could add a circle for part of this, and I'll show you how it could make a really nice hip, is going to be a really nice way to kind of guide you through your drawing, because sometimes drawing creatures or things that look alive can be really difficult because you get stuck on the details when you should be worrying about the basic shapes. So I'm going to start this in pencil just so I can show you. You should always work in pencil to start with, just so you can erase and make changes if you need to. You're going to want to make sure you have a nice separate eraser if possible, because the ones in the back of the pencil just aren't that great usually. And then I'm going to finish out in Sharpie. You could be using ultra fine point. Any sort of permanent marker would work for this, or pen. And then you got lots of options for color. I'm using watercolor paper here, but you could be using regular cardstock or just regular paper for your illustration. So anyways, let's get started. First things first, I'm going to end up using my rectangle pretty close to the middle of my paper for the central part of my body. Now I'm going to trace around the entire rectangle, although I'm going to be erasing parts of this as I go on. So you want to know that even though you're going to be drawing all these shapes, parts of it will get erased, and that's okay. Just know that you don't want to press down super hard because you want to be able to erase. I'm going to take my triangle, and I'm actually going to take it, instead of having it come straight out because I want it to fit on the page and because I want to do a little more with it, I'm actually going to line it up so the corner fits with my rectangle, and it's going to come down over here, kind of pointing off to the side. That's going to allow me to create a little bit more shape for the tail. Okay, I'm going to add on to that in a minute. The next thing that I want to do is I want to make a head. Now there's all kinds of different heads you can put on a dragon, all kinds of different bodies for that matter. So I'm doing kind of a classic, like middle chubby size body for my dragon. And then I was thinking about, doing something a little bit more alligator-like for the head. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my triangle again, and I'm going to use it for the front of the head for the basic shape. But watch this. I'm going to do the triangle pointed out like this, and then I'm just going to shift it. I'm going to bring it down over here. I'm going to use this part as kind of my guide for the next piece. Whoops, I forgot to close off the bottom of my triangle here. All right, so this is really the basics of what I need. I actually think I will use my circle tracer here with my little tape roll. You could use anything that's handy to make a circle right here, which will end up being the hip. Now this looks like some weird abstract painting right now, but trust me, I'm going to use this as a guide. So first off, I'm going to start erasing some lines that I don't want. I don't want the bottom of my circle because that's where my leg is going to stick out. I just want the circle top for the hip. I don't want the back of my rectangle here where it fits into my triangle, or the end of my triangle over here. And I also don't want these lines to overlap here by the head. Okay, so I'm left with a couple of lines here and there, maybe not as much as you expected, but trust me, this is going to be helpful. So I'm going to work in Sharpie now so you guys can see better on camera, because I think these lines are pretty faint. But I would want you to work with your pencil and just press a little bit harder as you start, deciding you want to keep things. And when you're really sure, that's when you go into the Sharpie. So first off, I'm going to curve this back here. It's straight right now with two angles, but let me just turn it into one general curve. I'll follow the basic shape right there. I'm going to leave the bottom of my triangle open because that's going to be the tail. I'm going to come up over here. And I'm going to go around the top of the circle. I'm going to leave a little gap right there because that's where the hip is going to link into the body, if you guys see that. I'm going to skip the foot for now. I'm going to do a little of the stomach, so I'm going to curve this out a little bit. I'm going to leave another gap for another leg. And then I'm going to do the bottom of the jaw. So I'm going to bring this down pretty close to where that triangle is. Come up. I'm going to kind of square off the front here a little bit. And same thing up here. I'm going to do this part. And what I'm actually going to do is give them a little bit more, attitude or just feeling. I'm going to bring this line for the jaw weight in. I like how it kind of dips down over here, so I'm going to do this. And let's just bring this one out like normal. So you guys can start to see that lizard form that's taking here, okay? So now is where I start adding some of those details and I start figuring out the toes. Now I'm going to show you a really awesome tip for making really, really good, realistic looking claws for things like a dinosaur or a dragon, even though it's really easy. Instead of trying to think about all the different toes all at the same time, think about just one singular toe, like one little claw toe. So first up, let's make the leg. It's going to come forward or actually, sorry, it's going to come back and then it's going to come forward. It's going to look like kind of a big, I don't know, foot. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make kind of a claw back. I'm going to come up here. I'm just going to make one big claw right here, one big thing, boop, like that. Now, why I'm going to do that is because I'm going to make the other toes overlapped behind it. So I can just do another claw right there and another one sticking up right there. And that makes kind of a cool 3D looking toe where the toes overlap going back. For the front, I'm going to make kind of an elbow coming back. And then again, just the one claw right there. And then I'm going to go 1, 2 like that. Okay, so again, I'm thinking about the overlapping of the fingers. You're going to see that line from one in front of the other, and that makes it a lot easier to deal with, I think. Okay, so this guy feels kind of frog-like right now, and whatever it ends up feeling like, just roll with it, because I can change this dragon completely. I can thin the head way out, make it elongated to make it more alligator-like. I can do a long neck, more of that kind of traditional, you know, knight and dragon kind of dragon, but this one feels like a big Komodo dragon, you know what I mean? So the one thing I want to play with is let's have some fun with the tail here. Let's bring it out and wind it all around, make it really, really long and exaggerated. And then let's just bring this other line down, and we're just going to slowly try to pinch it off really slowly till it's joined up at the end. I can do a little extra line there just to make it look nice and long and thin. Clean up a couple of those lines, and there we go. I'm starting to feel really good about the body here, right? So then what do we do with the face? Well, we need a nostril on the front for sure. We probably want to have something going on with the eyes, right? That'd be weird otherwise. So you can make an angry eye, you can make a normal eye. Sometimes I actually think with lizards, it's better just to do like a beady eye. And you can move them way forward from where you feel or way back. It's kind of up to you. I'm going to put mine right about here. Make it relatively small, okay? I like how that feels. I'm going to leave 2 open spaces in it to create a little gleam on the eye. And now I really do feel like that feels very lizard-like. I do want the jaw to feel really imposing, so I'm going to add some teeth that hang down outside the jaw right here, okay? And then when I get up over here a little closer, I'm then going to have the teeth that actually stick up kind of randomly through here. I could even have one that stands like way out, almost kind of like saber-tooth-like in a way. And now he's starting to feel really kind of gnarly and crazy looking. So if you want to at this point, this is probably a good spot where I can go back in with my eraser. And guys, I remind my kids always of this. I have a lot of experience drawing. Most of you will not necessarily end up with something as kind of like, you know, smooth as this to begin with. Maybe you do. Maybe you get something way better than me. Congrats. Kudos. But if you don't, remember, this is what I do for a living, and I'm a lot older than you. So I've had a lot more time to practice, and yeah, that makes me, you know, a little more skilled at this, I hope, but we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, you're only going to get better when you try, when you make. So now the details are where it's really at, where the fun stuff comes in. I like adding the circle back here, which would actually be the eardrum of the lizard. If you think about lizards, they actually don't have ears that stick out usually, but they do have those little eardrums that stick back there, so you can do that. Another nice one is to change the texture of the belly from the rest of it. So I can just kind of do these overlapping curved rectangles here. Let them go kind of behind the leg there too. And I'll have one more rib or two coming out here underneath by the jaw. Another cool thing you can do is just to create wrinkles, because skin on things like lizards tends to wrinkle up a little bit. Kind of think about like elephant skin, similar to that. And those wrinkles really can just make it feel more detailed and real, you know? I'm going to add a few of those here and there. I think that'll really help kind of sell this feeling of this like really like gnarly ancient looking beast. If you want this creature to be kind of standing up a little bit, you might want to draw the other leg that's sitting off behind, or you can draw a ground line, which will mean that you know, other leg is on the opposite side of whatever ridge or ground line is there. And it just can feel like your creature's a little more grounded. I did not actually put this foot down on the ground kind of the same way I did this one. So this is a little weird. It's kind of perched up. So I'm going to imagine his other leg is pushing down and allowing him to lift the leg towards you. And that's just part of the logic of doing this, okay? Feels kind of strange up here near the head right now, so I'm going to start trying to think about some other cool little, like, you know, bends and details that I can make that will make it feel a little better. I feel like there's something missing from the top. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to get kind of crazy here. I'm gonna give them this cool kind of crest, almost like a rooster or like a peacock. I'm gonna give it kind of a point here, these little tendril pieces. And then a lot of lizards actually have skin that goes between that acts like a sail. And I've heard that that allows them to regulate their body temperature better because they're cold-blooded, so they don't get an opportunity to just warm up by eating stuff. They have to actually bathe in the sun or let go of heat through things like fans rather than sweating, because they don't sweat. They're lizards. And then you could do some really cool things too. I could make some cool spines off the back. And really, I'm there. I'm ready to, I'm just adding more and more details till I'm happy. And then you get a chance to color. Now, I'll show you very quickly the thing that I love to use. And if you can order it on Amazon, if you're at home, that's great. If you just want to use regular watercolors, or you want to use regular colored pencils, or you want to use crayons or paint or whatever you got handy, or you just want to do it in marker, or you just want to leave it black and white and add shading with a pencil, everything is fine. There's no wrong way to do this. But what I will say is I do really like this material a lot. And I know you guys probably figured out I love watercolor pencils. So I would use watercolor pencils for this. I really dig these Prismacolors. They're really affordable. I think they're like $7 for the pack. It's not bad at all. If you want to shell out more money, Inktense is really good, but you pay a lot more. I mean, the same set in an Inktense set will be like 20, 30 bucks as opposed to $7. So I start with the Prismacolor. Prismacolor is great, so I would never speak badly of them. And so what you can do is you can start adding your color. So obviously green is a classic color. You're just gonna put it on just like regular colored pencil if this is what you are using. If you're using colored pencils, obviously you just put it on like regular colored pencil. But one of the big things I wanna point out is kind of layering some colors to add a little more interest to it. So I'm gonna do some green here. I'm gonna use a darker green around the edges here to kind of create a shadow. I have talked about that previously in other videos. You can create form, you can make that 3D feeling by doing your darker colors around the outer edges of something that's 3D, because usually as it curves away from you, it's in shadow. And then I can even get kind of funny with this. I could do like kind of a fade into an orange here on its back. It doesn't need to be a green lizard all over. In fact, I think it's way cooler if you incorporate some, surprising and different colors. Instead of doing let's do a little yellow fade in here too, kind of in the center of the body. I'm not gonna color the whole thing, because again, I just don't want this video to drone on forever. But I'll show you, let's do some blue over the green here and even over some of the orange. Okay kids, so I'm speeding up the video here because I was going to run out of time with you guys anyway. And I just want to let you know you can really color this in with any material you can get your hands on. Anything at home will do, highlighters, colored pencils, crayons, markers, whatever. Enjoy it, add whatever details you possibly can, and just really take it as far as you can get it. And it'll be a good time. So I will catch you guys next time for another lesson. And just keep making. You're only going to get better, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, bye-bye.